You don't talk about the silence, do you? That heavy silence after the door closes, after the fight, after the lie, after the warmth turns into ash. You scroll, you drink, you joke, but something inside you doesn't laugh anymore. Not really. You thought you were a man in control. But now, you can't even control the shaking in your hands when her name flashes on your screen. Or worse, when it doesn't. You tell yourself it's her fault. Too cold, too distant, too much. But in the stillness of your own mind, when no one's watching, when the mask slips just a little, you feel it. The sting, the weight, the emptiness. Where did it all go wrong? Was it the moment she stopped asking if you were okay? Or the moment you stopped being someone worth asking? You chased success, status, validation, and you got it, didn't you? So why does it all feel hollow? Why does the bed feel bigger now that she's not in it? And yet you feel smaller? You look in the mirror and barely recognize the man staring back. Tired eyes, a jaw clenched in denial, a mouth full of excuses. You remember how you laughed when she said, "I'm not here to be conquered. I'm here to see who you really are." You didn't understand her then. Maybe you still don't, because you were hunting trophies, not truths, collecting bodies, not souls. And when she didn't give herself to you easily, you saw it as a flaw, not a sign, not a mirror. You thought love was supposed to surrender. But real love, real women, don't bow to boys dressed as men. She wasn't asking for perfection. She was asking for presence. And you gave her performance. The performance cracked. She saw the parts of you keep hidden. The fear, the insecurity, the hunger that no amount of wins could ever fill. You called her too much because she made you feel not enough. But the truth? She was the storm that revealed the cracks in your foundation, not the one who caused them. You wanted her as a prize, but she was a test. And you didn't fail when you lost her. You failed long before, when you lost yourself. Now, you're standing in the ruins of your own making. Ashes in your hands, echoes in your chest. And for the first time, you're not asking, "Why did she leave?" You're whispering, "What did I become?" You didn't want a woman. You wanted validation in a dress. You chased her like a prize. Not to love her, to prove something. To whom? Your friends? Your father? Your own doubt? You measured her by how good she made you feel. Not by who she was. Not by what she needed. Only by how well she fit the story you wrote. But she wasn't a supporting role. She had her own script, and she stopped reading yours. You mistook her curiosity for admiration, her silence for approval, her depth for danger. Because what if she saw you? Not the polished version, not the charming act, but the man behind the mask. Were you ready for that? You gave her gestures. She wanted presence. You gave answers. She wanted honesty. She wasn't asking for perfection. She was asking for truth. You thought you gave it, but truth isn't clean. It isn't rehearsed. It's raw, unedited. And you couldn't bear to bleed in front of her. So you dressed your fear in control, your wounds in pride, your confusion in detachment. You thought she would lean in. Instead, she stepped back, not to punish you, to protect herself. She didn't need you to be strong. She needed you to be real. But realness costs. It demands you lose the armor. And you weren't ready to be unarmed. You told yourself she changed. But maybe she just stopped shrinking. Maybe she stopped twisting herself to fit inside your comfort zone. You called her unpredictable. But maybe she just stopped tolerating the script. You said she was cold, but it was your warmth that was missing. She wasn't testing your worth. She was revealing it. And when the mirror turned, you looked away, because it's easier to blame the reflection than face the cracks. You didn't lose her. You lost the illusion. And sometimes, that's the only thing you were ever holding. It doesn't happen like thunder, not with noise, not with drama. It happens in the quiet, when you're sitting alone, and no one's watching, when no one needs you to perform, when the mask slides off, because even you can't bear to wear it anymore. And suddenly, you feel it, the ache behind the bravado, The hunger beneath the flirting. The boy beneath the armor. You thought you were broken by her leaving, but you were already cracked. She just stopped holding the pieces together. You thought she betrayed you, but it was you who made the first cut. Every time you lied to yourself. Every time you avoided the mirror. And now, there it is. Clear. Unforgiving. Still. The man you became. The one you didn't mean to be. The one who chose ego over truth. Control over connection. Pride over presence. And you see it. She didn't want your power. She wanted your presence. She didn't want a god. She wanted a witness. To her soul. To her storms. To her silence. And you couldn't do it. Not because you were weak, but because you were afraid. Afraid she'd see what you couldn't accept. Afraid she'd stay and know the truth. Or worse, leave and confirm it. So you gave less. Held back. Called it protecting yourself. But it was hiding. And now you see the paradox. You thought giving all of you would break you. But withholding is what hollowed you out. You thought you had time. But time doesn't wait for self-deception. It walks with those who walk with themselves. You didn't fail because you weren't enough for her. You failed because you weren't honest with you. That's the cut that bleeds now. The one no one else can bandage. And it's not her absence that haunts you. It's the version of you she believed in, that you never became. You start to ask deeper questions. Not, why did she leave? But, why did I stay blind? Not, how do I get her back? But who was I when I had her? And there, in that space, clarity, painful, precise, necessary. She wasn't your loss. She was your lesson, not a punishment, a prophecy, a reflection of the man you could have been, and maybe still can become. If you stop running, if you stop pretending, if you finally stand still long enough to meet yourself. It begins when you stop begging for her voice and start listening to your own. When silence no longer feels like punishment, but like space. For rebuilding, for remembering, not who you were, but who you never allowed yourself to be. The man without the mask, without the script, without the chase. You thought strength was having answers, but maybe it's the courage to ask the real questions and not flinch when they echo. What have I been avoiding? What kind of man am I when no one's watching? Would I trust me if I were her? And the answers hurt, but they don't destroy. They awaken. You stop performing. Start showing up. Not for her. For you. The boy who wanted applause fades. The man who can sit with his own shadow begins to rise. You learn to hold yourself. To stand still when the old instincts scream. Run. To feel fully, without numbing, chasing, or blaming. And from that stillness, something unfamiliar arrives. Quiet confidence. Not the loud, desperate kind. The steady kind. The kind that doesn't need to impress. Doesn't need to dominate. Doesn't need to be chosen. Because it chooses itself. And in choosing herself, you finally understand her. Her silence wasn't punishment. It was an invitation. To grow, to evolve, to meet her in the depths she already lived in. But you had to go through your own storm first. Not to prove your worth, but to remember it. You no longer need to be the man she wanted. You're becoming the man you respect. Not perfect, not polished, but real. And realness, that's the rarest kind of strength. You start to rebuild differently. Not from desire, but from alignment. Not asking, how can I win her? But, how can I live with myself? You stop needing to be needed. You start needing to be true. And suddenly, you understand what she mirrored. She wasn't asking for more. She was calling for depth, for integrity, for presence. And now, you have it. Not because she returned, but because you did. So now what? You've seen the mirror, faced the cracks, felt the silence of being left behind, and didn't run from it. You bled, but not outward, inward, into the space where the boy once begged to be enough. He's gone now, not buried, integrated. You don't chase anymore. You walk, not faster, just truer. You no longer need applause to believe you matter. You've heard your own voice. And for the first time, you trust it. So here you are, not healed, but honest, not finished, but awake. And this is the moment most men avoid. The moment after the pain, where the story waits. Not the one she wrote, the one you will write. Because now you know, it was never about winning her, or proving anything. It was about becoming. The mirror didn't shatter to destroy you. It broke so you'd stop living in a reflection that wasn't yours. Now you have a choice. To return to the old habits, the rehearsed charm, the shallow victories, or to build something real, solid, earned, and not just with women, with life, with truth, with self. Because here's the paradox. You thought love would complete you, but it demanded you be complete. You thought the right woman would save you, but the right man was waiting inside, buried beneath all the noise. So let her absence not be a wound, but a wake-up. Let the silence not be empty, but sacred. And let this version of you, the one who sees, the one who stays, the one who chooses presence over power, be the beginning, not the end. There are women you will meet who don't want the boy who wants a trophy. They want the man who held his own gaze in the mirror and didn't look away. Be him, not to win her back, but to never lose yourself again.